Hello, good morning, welcome. It is Doug Shain, BanksterDFS.com, at Bankster17, and put up a poll yesterday on Twitter. Do you want to see a 2021 Royal Rumble preview? And 100% of you said yes. So I'm up early this morning recording a Royal Rumble preview for you guys. I'm very excited to do that. I think it's going to be an awesome show this year. So many question marks, so many interesting things, and we'll get into those previews and predictions real quick, real soon. But let's take a quick look here at what do you get if you're new to Bankster DFS. Well, if you've never heard of us, banksterdfs.com, we cover daily fantasy sports. We also like to talk about wrestling and movies and barbecuing and sports betting and sports cards. But our main focus is daily fantasy sports, and we cover everything: hockey, baseball, basketball, football, college sports, pro sports, niche sports. We do have the current reigning and defending 2019 Soccer Writer of the Year, Jeff Kaminsky. He's going to be defending that title with a 2020 nomination, and he's also up for Racing Writer of the Year. We cover it all: MMA, PGA, everything. You get daily articles, player pools, Slack chat. Best Slack chat in the business. So much fun to sit there and talk to everyone. Also, we put out videos. You can find that on YouTube right here. You're watching it right now. Just check out my name, Doug Shain. If you happen to have someone else showing you this video, like, share, subscribe, click the notification icon so you know when new videos are posting and when we go live. We generally go live every Friday night, 7:30 Eastern, to talk NHL slate. During NFL season, we talk NFL. At Major League Baseball season, I'm sure we're going to do live streams for Major League Baseball. So make sure you check us out. $3.99 a week gets you all of our content. Everything we do for under $4 a week. Can't really go wrong with it. Real good team of staff, a good team of writers, fun guys, real great community that we have within our Slack chat. Worth the price of admission alone just to hang out in the Slack chat and get the picks from there, and then get all the articles and the player pools and everything on top of that. But you're here to talk about WWE Royal Rumble 2021. We're going to run through the card, talk about some predictions, storyline implications, and then we're going to take a look and see, where we think we're headed for possibly WrestleMania with that right around the corner, because the road to WrestleMania starts today, guys. So let's take a quick look. Breaking down the card, first match on the card, we got Sasha Banks, as we call her in my house, new mommy. We're a big Sasha Banks family here, and Carmella. It's been a good feud. Carmella has shown a new level of aggression. Her new gimmick is working out really well, but we're heading into WrestleMania season. You're not going into WrestleMania season with Carmella as the champ. I just don't see it happening. Sasha Banks has got bigger fish to fry, and when we get to the Royal Rumble, we'll talk about what fish I think we're frying at WrestleMania. But I just don't see how Sasha Banks loses this match. And there's a lot of different ways you can go depending upon the Royal Rumble outcomes. There's a lot of different avenues you can take with where Sasha goes from here, but fans are going to be in the stands for WrestleMania. Vince McMahon's going to want stars holding belts. I think it's going to be a star-studded WrestleMania. I don't think a lot of chances are going to be taken. Sasha Banks is one of his biggest stars on the women's side currently, especially with the active wrestlers. We have some inactive wrestlers who are pretty big names too. We'll talk about them in a second. But I just don't see a bigger star on the women's side than Sasha Banks, and Vince is going to want her coming out, making that entrance at WrestleMania, and I think he's going to put her in a marquee match at WrestleMania. So Sasha Banks retains. I think it's one of the easiest matches on the card to call. If by some chance she loses, she'll get it back before WrestleMania. I'm not really worried about that. She's going in as the champ. This is the plan. She is the woman in that division. WWE's got a bunch of women's matches on this card, but I think it's great. The women's division is rolling right now. I know there's not as much depth necessarily with the storytelling, but they're just loaded with talent, and the top of the card is ridiculous. I would have liked to have seen Asuka put up her women's championship at this pay-per-view, but I understand time constrictions are what they are, and this gets 4 women into the match. Charlotte and Asuka defending the women's tag title, going up against Nia and Shayna. It's kind of having Charlotte and Asuka as the tag champs has been kind of a waste of time, because I feel like these two are destined to go at it one more time for the women's championship. They're better off, obviously, as singles competitors. They're better off as rivals. They're not really a good tag team. I don't really know what they're doing with Asuka right now. They have her looking really weak against Alexa Bliss. I understand wanting to build up Bliss with this whole She-Fiend gimmick, which I think is great. I think the work they're doing is wonderful, but I don't like doing it at the expense of Asuka unless it's going to lead somewhere, and I don't think it's going to lead anywhere. I think where we're headed is Asuka Charlotte. I don't think it's Asuka Bliss. And this whole Charlotte Lacey thing is stupid. Like, I hate what they're doing with Lacey Evans. I hate what they're doing with Ric Flair. I don't know who's supposed to be the heel, who's supposed to be the face. Charlotte just acts heelish. She is not a natural face. She's talented. Her moveset is the kind of thing you'd normally see from a baby face, but she just comes off she's just not a face. She's just such a better heel. But Lacey's acting like the heel. It's really dumb. The sooner we get away from all that and head towards Charlotte and Asuka, the better off we are. And then, Nia and Shayna kind of found their groove as a tag team in a way. I'm not going to compare their entertainment value to Team Hell No, but you have a couple of wrestlers who don't like each other, and it's that oddball tag team, but they really have gelled well together. Maybe the Bar is a much better comparison because Sheamus and Cesaro really gelled and became this great tag team, learned to like and respect each other, and that's what you're seeing with Nia and Shayna, and I think you're going to see that develop further. I think there's a lot more they can do in the tag division, surely more than the mega team of Asuka and Charlotte. I just think for the business, it's going to be better to give Shayna and Nia their titles back. I think it was a failed experiment with Charlotte and Asuka. I think, again, bigger story to tell there. Put the titles back on Shayna and Nia. Let them go out and do something. Find another tag team for them to go up against. Maybe they go up against Trish and Lita at WrestleMania. Maybe they go against Natalya and Beth Phoenix. Maybe the Iconics make a return together. Maybe the Riot Squad gets a push. I know they've been feuding a little bit with Mandy and Dana Brooke, which it's not the best direction for them. We're going to have to find someone to put them up against, but I think there are better stories to tell with these two as the champs. Even as bully champs, I think they're going to be I just think they can do more with the titles than Charlotte and Asuka, because at the end of the day, Charlotte and Asuka are not going to care about the women's tag titles. They are single stars, mega stars, and the titles do more with Shayna and Nia. So I think that's where we're going. I hope that's where we're going, because I'm tired of seeing the tag titles. One of the titles is always getting put on the back burner. The tag titles are the women's championship, and we don't need that. We can spotlight all of them, put the titles on Nia and on Shayna and go with that. And let Shayna do Shayna things. Like, Shayna Baszler's amazing. Let her really run with the title, and you will see, going back to the Team Hell No experiment, she will have, if they let her just do her thing, she will start to get a following, maybe not in the popularity level of Daniel Bryan, but she will break out, and it will benefit her to where she can make a singles run maybe next year, because she is still a main event level talent. They just need to do something with her, and letting her feature with the women's tag championship, something they can do with Shayna Baszler. I hate this match. I hate that they scheduled this match. Drew McIntyre should not be losing. He should be headlining WrestleMania this year. Goldberg doesn't come in to lose. Vince is going to do something stupid here. I do think at the end of the day, Drew McIntyre walks into WrestleMania as the champ. Unless they want to do a triple threat with Goldberg, Lesnar, McIntyre. They want to do a rematch where McIntyre gets his big win at WrestleMania. But they've done the big win. I don't want to go back to that story at WrestleMania. I just like to see Drew defend against somebody. I don't know what they're planning to do with the WWE Championship heading into WrestleMania right now. I don't see it. I don't understand. And then putting Goldberg here just paints them into a corner, because he has to win, right? It's Goldberg. He has to win because he's Goldberg. Otherwise, you ruin Goldberg. I think you do. Not that I care that you ruin Goldberg, but I don't think Vince wants to ruin Goldberg, because I think there's still money in Goldberg. Now, could Goldberg win, be worn down, catch a Claymore, Miz comes in, cashes in, Drew beats him at the next pay-per-view in a triple threat with Goldberg at Fastlane, which will be the first pay-per-view on the Peacock version of the WWE Network. So maybe they want a big match like that. I know they've got Elimination Chamber in there as well. There's a lot of ways to get the title back on Drew. You can have a little fun with the Miz, move him back down to the mid-card before WrestleMania, because Miz is not main eventing WrestleMania. He could have, by the way, a couple of years back. He was so white hot, and they dropped the ball with the Miz too. Right now, he's a great worker, but he's just not there. He's not catching that fire. Maybe he needs the live crowd more. But I do think there's a chance Miz walks out with the WWE Championship today. But I think that happens after Goldberg pins McIntyre. I think we could see a little bit of a hot potato with the WWE Championship, though I do think with Elimination Chamber and Fastlane and a whole lot of time before WrestleMania, I do think Drew will walk into WrestleMania as the champ. I think there are rumors that they want to do Goldberg Cena at WrestleMania, which would just suck if that was for a championship. You can have them fight, but to do it for a championship is stupid. it will turn off a lot of fans. Like the internet is going to explode tonight if Goldberg or Miz honestly walk out. But I think if Miz walks out with the title because Goldberg beat McIntyre, I think people are going to be very happy with that, knowing that McIntyre will get the title back, and at least it's a current star, not a legend. But if the pay-per-view ends and Goldberg is the champ, I think you're going to have a lot of pissed off people, and that's not what WWE wants. But Vince just can't control himself when it comes to these legends like Goldberg. I mean, I think Goldberg, Cena, I think you're going to see these guys carry titles this year, and I think it's dumb. I think it's dumb, but I think it's where we're headed. This could be a wacky pay-per-view. To me, the easiest match on the card to call, perhaps besides Sasha, Carmella, is Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens. I love the work Kevin Owens is doing. He's a great babyface. He doesn't quite have the Steve Austin vibe that they're going for with the anti-authority stunner kind of dude. But if you just watch the guy on Twitter and you just see the videos he puts out or some of the tweets, like he's a genuinely good dude in real life, and which is great because he can play such a great heel. Like he can play such a jerk, but like he's not. Like he's just a good dude in real life. And so you want to root for him in this story, this underdog story, and he's just stood up to Reigns. And in any other world, this would be the time to put the title on Owens, give him that redemptive babyface win. But they're doing stuff with Reigns here. I don't think Reigns is losing until WrestleMania 38 at the earliest. Like I think he's keeping the title for a year and a half. His character is amazing. Turning him heel, the fans were right with him. Make him a heel. He's a great heel. I don't think they're done with the bloodline story. I think with Jimmy about to join, I do think Jimmy Uso joins the bloodline after teasing not joining the bloodline. And Jey Uso, who I know is dealing with this emotional trauma of Reigns sort of verbally abusing him, I think they're going to fall in line for a while. Eventually, we're going to even see a triple threat one day with the guys, or a handicap match when they finally break away from Reigns. But there's a lot of story left to tell here. Reigns is the hottest thing in wrestling right now. He might be the best thing in wrestling right now. I don't see them taking the title off him now. He has to headline WrestleMania. And, I'd said before, Drew needs to main event WrestleMania, I believe is what I said, or Goldberg. I said something about I think the true main event of WrestleMania is going to be involving Roman Reigns. I think he deserved it. He's main evented a lot of WrestleManias, but this year he actually has earned it. He's been the best thing in wrestling since he came back. He's been phenomenal. And I think there's way too much story to tell him, way too much money, and building him up to mega, mega, mega heat. Eventually he'll do a WrestleMania match with The Rock. It's not happening this year. But geez, Reigns has been so good. I just think there's too much money in that. Owens, I'd like to see him not bounce too far down the card. He's not going to be a title contender, a major title contender, but he might jump in the Intercontinental title picture. He may have a big feud with someone else. I don't want to see him turn heel yet, but I think this is his time in the sun might be over. And we'll see. We'll kind of see where it goes from there. But I love the idea of Roman retaining in a really hard fought match. I think it's going to be a great match, a lot of shenanigans, last man standing match. But I think at the end of the day, there's just too much going against Owens. And I think he's going to put in a valiant effort. He may be better off for it too. Like this feud has been great for Owens, but Tribal Chief is winning. Like dude's the man. So that leads us to the Royal Rumble matches. First one, Women's Royal Rumble. I think this could actually open the card. I think this might actually end up being the first match on the card. I think to me, the answer is cut and dry as to who wins, though I'm not going to spoil it too much until the end. I haven't looked at betting odds. I refuse this year to look at betting odds. I know in the past I've done videos about how we should bet the Rumble, but the betting odds they tell you too much, and I don't like to be spoiled prior to the show. I'm going to try to stay off Twitter today on that. Like I just want to see the show. Like I'm excited for the show. I think there's a number of contenders. I think these are probably the main contenders today. I mean, Bayley has been doing great work. I don't know if it's time for Bayley. I think she's had her year or so of glory, and I think that she'll have something to do, but I'm not sure they're going to go in that direction. Bianca Belair has been white hot right now. People are into her. I didn't get Bianca Belair at first. Like I didn't buy into it. I thought the hair was gimmicky and I didn't love it, but you listen to her talk, you watch her work. She is phenomenal. She's so good and deserves her moment at the top of the card. When she's had the opportunity to be in the women's championship matches at takeovers, she's been great. When she gets on the microphone, she's fantastic. You believe her, you buy into it, she's relatable. And then you watch the WWE Chronicle on her, and she is just this baby face, a lovable person that you just want to get behind. Nikki Cross has been doing some really interesting things outside the realm of television. And I don't think that stuff's out there by accident. I think she has a good showing. I do think she ultimately ends up losing. I think something goes down with her and Bliss during the match. But I do think you'll see Nikki Cross elevated a lot from this match. I think she'll be one of the breakout stars from the Rumble, and I think she could go down to the final 5 or 6. I just think they're doing too much with her, and she's such a great character, and she's a really good talker and worker. Like Nikki Cross is super underrated, and they're doing a lot with her right now, like kind of almost viral. Like you got to go find it on Twitter or on the WWE's social media platforms. But they're doing some good stuff with her. And there's got to be a purpose behind it. Like I said, I think Bliss does something with her. I think Alexa Bliss is doing also some of the best work of her career, but she's dealing with the Fiend and Randy Orton. I think Edge is getting involved in all of this. Like I think there's more story to tell outside of that, and I don't think going for a title is where she's going to be right now. I don't think she needs to win the Rumble to go the title. If they want to go the title route with her, they could do something in Elimination Chamber, build it up. But I don't think that's where Vince is heading for WrestleMania. I think the 2 title bouts are pretty well set in my mind. We'll talk about those in a second. Charlotte, she's always a threat to win. I mean, wouldn't it be the most Vince thing to ever do to make her win back to back? That's why I chose that picture. Like, ooh, what am I doing? Win again. She's becoming Cena wins Lowell. Like I don't think she needs the Rumble win. Like I think Charlotte's great. I don't think she needs another Rumble win. Let's elevate someone else. Charlotte's already one of the best of all time. There are other easy stories you can tell with her to get her where they want to be at WrestleMania. I do think one of the wild cards in this match could be Rhea Ripley. Rumor has it that she's, quote, already on the main roster, even though she's not debuted. She's coming out at the Rumble. She's going to be in the Rumble match. It hasn't been confirmed, but she'll be there. And I do think that she's got an outside chance, especially if somehow Charlotte ends up with the championship prior to WrestleMania. They can do a rematch from last year's WrestleMania. I don't think we're there yet with Ripley. I think we need another year or so to get her up to where they need to be. I think as you can see, there are other women to talk about that have an opportunity to do something. I don't think it's Ripley's time yet. I think that's hot-shotting her a little too much. Other women have earned it before her. I think she needs to pay her dues a little bit on the main roster. I don't think she's hot enough of an act to just hot shot to the title right away. Like Baszler was that type of an act last year. She should have won the Rumble last year, by the way. Ripley could have been there about a year ago because she dominated at the Survivor Series, and they didn't pull the trigger with her. They kept her in NXT, and then they really cooled her down. She's not where she needs to be, and I don't think the smart way to do it is to just hot shot her with the Rumble win. I don't think she'll get that momentum back right away. They need to build her. Couple of names that you hear floating around out there. You got Becky and Ronda. There's some rumors. I think there's a chance we see one of them. I'm not sure either one of them wants to make a return in an empty arena. And I don't know if it's the smartest decision to do it. I think they're headed towards WrestleMania. I think they've got each other at WrestleMania this year. I do. I think, again, Vince wants to pack a crowd as much as he can. A lot of fans back in the stadium, and I don't know if there's a bigger money match on the table outside of Reigns and Rock, which we know isn't happening this year because Rock's not coming back to a half-filled stadium or a third-filled stadium. He's coming back to a packed house. These 2 women will, especially with Rousey's contract ending in April. This is the last chance to get something out of her. She's been training for a return. We know she's been training with James Storm for something. Becky has had her child and should be at this point ready to be in shape, at least by WrestleMania, wrestling ring shape. She'll probably come back earlier than that, maybe at Fastlane. What a great way to start the Peacock era. I don't think this is the day that we see too much activity from them, if we see them at all. Maybe some seeds are planted, maybe not. I think this is where we're headed, though. I don't think either of them are going to win the Rumble. So where's the Rumble winner coming from? I think it's going to be the EST. Bianca Belair's it's been too good, and I think we're headed towards a Bianca Sasha match. I said we want to make Sasha Banks that she's one of the faces of the women's division. She's one of the biggest stars. What a great way to get Bianca Belair over. The problem is we're dealing with face versus face, but Sasha can start to do heelish things, or you can just do a face versus face thing. I don't think we're ready to make Bianca a heel. Like she's just too lovable at this point to be a heel. Pardon me. So I don't think we're going to go there with Bianca of the heel, maybe face versus face, but I do think Bianca is going to win the Rumble, and I do think she's going to go after Sasha, and I think it's going to be a good match. I think the end of the day, there are going to be bigger women's matches on the card. So I do think it'll be a little lower down the card. But I also think Bianca will probably come out on top of WrestleMania. And I think they're gonna strap a rocket to her for a while at least too. Let maybe Sasha go back and do some stuff with Bayley, or maybe switch brands. I'm not sure what they're gonna do with Sasha, but I do think it's time to develop some new stars, because the women's division has been relying very heavily on Becky, Sasha, Bayley, Charlotte, Asuka for a while now. And we need to make some new stars. Like I said, I do think Nikki Cross is in line for that. Alexa Bliss is right underneath the main level, and I think she has her spooky stuff that she's doing, and I think she exists outside the women's division right now. I think she's a big star, but I think she's outside the women's division. I think she's gonna continue to be a big star because Bliss is amazing, but this is one, Bianca Belair is someone we can strap a rocket to and make a major star out of. She's got all the qualities you're looking for in a major star, and I think it starts this year at the Rumble. Unless Charlotte wins, LOL. That would be awful. Men's time. Oh, this is one of the most wide open fields I've ever seen for the Rumble. I'm going to start off right off the bat. It was announced last night on WWE Backstage that Randy Orton and Edge are going to start 1 and 2 in the Rumble. I think, to me, that says one of two things is happening. They're going to make it all the way to the end, and one of the two is going to end up winning. But I don't think that's what's going to happen. I think we're going to deal with some Fiend BS here, because there's rumors that we're going to head towards Fiend and Edge at WrestleMania, which could be interesting, which means somehow we have to blow off Edge and Orton. So we do a little bit now, maybe at the Elimination Chamber or Fastlane, we blow off that feud. Maybe Orton gets back into the title picture. I don't know what they're doing with Randy Orton. He's got his toes in so many different stories, which I like, though. It's multi-layered, and he's one of the best. He's doing the best work of his career right now. They're doing some spooky BS with him and the Fiend, which is a little hokey, but in the empty arena era, it kind of works. I'm always entertained when Randy Orton's on screen. I do think these two do some things, and I don't think either will make it to the end. And I do think the Fiend gets involved, and it leads to more shenanigans later on and sets up something for somewhere down the future. I know that's not very specific, but I'm not in the writer's room, so I don't know what's going on there, But I think I think them being 1 and 2 makes a focus on them, but pulls them out when it matters. So where's some guys that we're looking at that we hear that are potential winners? I mean, these are some big stars, right? I think Sheamus is an interesting name on here, only because I just don't see him as a main eventer for WrestleMania. I know they're building up the McIntyre Sheamus thing, and I do think there could be a match for them somewhere down the line, or Elimination Chamber, or Fastlane, or something. I just don't think that's main event or as WrestleMania worthy. I just think Sheamus he was that one of the top guys. I mean, for a while he was a top babyface on SmackDown a number of years ago. I don't think he's ever going to ascend to that level again where we can consider him a legitimate main eventer at WrestleMania. I think he can main event a B-level pay-per-view. And I think there's a story to tell there. And I think he's a really good worker, but to me, he is just under that main event level player. Big E's time, I don't think, is now yet. There's a story to tell with him eventually, but let him do something with the IC title at WrestleMania. There's things he can do. I actually think if we can find a way to get Mustafa Ali over to SmackDown with all that's going on between Retribution and the New Day, we could correlate that and tie that in a little bit with Big E. I think that would be a really good use of Ali. There's been some talk that Ali could be a real interesting underdog type dark horse winner here. I'm not sure we're ready to push Retribution there. But if you want to salvage Retribution, let Ali find a way to finish up with Kofi, maybe win that feud with Kofi and Xavier, and then Big E takes up for them, and we get Ali running for the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania, let him win that, maybe with some shenanigans, then we move Big E up into the title picture post-WrestleMania. I think that's a really good way to move him there. He doesn't have to win the Rumble to get there. AJ Styles is always in the mix because he's a big superstar, but I think I don't think that's the direction they're headed with him, though I really am not sure where the WWE title picture is going for WrestleMania, so AJ Styles versus Drew, for me, really works. Just not sure we're going there. I'm not sure they're ready to push Shin that far. He's amazing, and we saw what he can do with the gauntlet match. And he's got that babyface fire, and he's got some momentum. But reports have already come out that he is not in consideration for a match against Roman Reigns. Now, is it possible they're throwing a red herring? He wins the Rumble and goes after Drew or Goldberg or Miz or whoever the heck has the WWE title. It's possible. I just don't think that's the direction they're going. Keith Lee, he's cooled down a lot. Vince dropped the ball with him. I don't get Keith Lee. I don't understand him. There are two guys on the main roster I don't get. I don't get Keith Lee, and I don't get Matt Riddle. Or Riddle, whatever you're going to call him now. I don't get either of them. They make no sense to me. I don't think they're very good. I don't think they speak well. I don't think they're that great in the ring. I get that they're athletically gifted, and as a big man myself, I cannot do what Keith Lee does. Good for him. But whatever made him good in NXT, and I started to buy into him a little bit in NXT, they took it all away on the main roster. And I don't think he's there. And again, much like with Rhea Ripley, I don't think hot-shotting him with a Rumble win is going to get us there. Daniel Bryan's Daniel Bryan. I mean, the redemption story's there. He's never won a Rumble. He's going down towards the end of his career. He's been on a little bit of a losing streak, but he's Daniel Bryan, and he could pop a crowd at WrestleMania, and Bryan Reigns just sounds like a really good WrestleMania main event match. But, Vince loves to screw with Daniel Bryan at the Rumble. And there's talk that this guy, Jinder, could win. Mark Henry brought it up on Busted Open Radio yesterday that it's a possibility. Andy Murray from What Culture Wrestling is talking up Jinder as a possible winner. If they don't plan on featuring Drew McIntyre in the main event of WrestleMania and they want to go a different direction, they just want to tell a story, there is backstory there, and you could find a way to make Jinder an interesting title contender. But I'm not sure this is how you want to go into the Peacock era. And by no means am I promoting this. Like, I think it would be awful. To Henry got me to buy in a little bit. Like, the way he tells this potential story, makes some sense. I'm not buying it. Not buying it. It's not gonna be Jinder. We're gonna hinder the Jinder. It's not happening. They could tease it. It can't happen. What about these guys? Cena, Lesnar. Vince could do it. There's been talk that Lesnar's going to come in, win the thing, and go face Goldberg, Keith Lee, Drew McIntyre, somebody at WrestleMania. I'm tired of Lesnar in the title picture. And I don't think John Cena needs a Royal Rumble. I don't think he needs a Rumble win to get where he has to be. He's going to be at WrestleMania. I don't think it has to happen at the Rumble. I don't want to see Cena or Lesnar tonight in the Rumble at all. And if I do, I want to see them using it to get younger guys over. That's what I want to see. New stars. I want to see new directions and new stars, or recertification of some stars who need to reboot themselves. So where do I think they're going with this match? Listen, I'm a sucker. I want to see it. It has to happen. At some point, Daniel Bryan's got to win a Rumble. And the story's there with Reigns. And, he should have won when Reigns won a number of 2015. He should have won 2014. There's so many shoulda, coulda, wouldas. And this is his last shot in the Rumble. This is his last run as a main eventer. Give him the shot one time, Vince, please. People want to see this. And then you want your white hot main event at WrestleMania. Here it is. You want to put him against Goldberg? Fine. You want to put him against McIntyre? Fine. There's your case for Miz keeping the title if he were to win it, right? Bryan versus Miz was hot. You could build that up, fine. But really, we're going to go to WrestleMania, and it's going to be Bryan versus Roman Reigns. That's the story we're telling. We're going to tell Bryan versus Reigns. And what you see on the screen, I think we've got 3 matches that I feel pretty comfortable saying will happen at WrestleMania. 2 that I feel really comfortable with, and 1 that I feel like should probably happen. It's their last chance to do it. Bryan Reigns, I think, is going to main event the whole show. It should, in my mind, and I'm here for that. I think Charlotte and Asuka, and they've been kind of feuding for a number of years now, right? Charlotte broke Asuka's winning streak last year or 2 years ago. Charlotte took the title off of Asuka heading into WrestleMania to set up the Becky 2 belts run for the main event of WrestleMania. I mean, I don't think we're done with Charlotte Asuka, and they put out bangers every time. Let's let them fight again. Let's do it. And I mean, this is the last chance to get Ronda Rousey back in unless she re-signs with WWE, and I'm not sure she's going to do that. Her contract runs out in April, and if she wants to make a return, she's training for a return, and Becky's ready. Give us the match you want to see. It doesn't have to be for a title. Give us Becky Ronda. You notice I don't have Bianca versus Sasha there. I just think that's going to be lower down the card. I think it's going to be a match. I do think there's a story for Big E. I'd love to see, like I said, Big E versus Ali. I think there's a lot of potential stories. Cena's going to be there. Lesnar should be there. I don't know who they're going to fight. I think there's a wide open WrestleMania, and again, the stories coming out of backstage reports from WWE is that they don't have anything set other than they know who they want Reigns to fight. I hope it's Daniel Bryan. I really do. And I got Drew McIntyre sitting there by himself. I don't know who's going to fight, but he should be in a title match for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania, whether it's going for the title or I think he should enter as the champion. The reason. Here we go. Okay, so I wasn't going to get too deep into this, and I don't want to go too much longer here on this, but perhaps McIntyre doesn't go in as a champion because WWE is going to want to take one of their 2 major titles and and have a championship celebration, right? And McIntyre is the more likely one to do that because I think Reigns is going to retain against Bryan. Like, I want Bryan in the main event. I want Daniel Bryan to get there, but I think Reigns is going to retain because I think I don't want to see Reigns lose until WrestleMania 38. So in order to do that, he has to beat Daniel Bryan. And I don't care how he does it, but it's got to be Daniel Bryan. So if that's the case and they want a championship celebration, they want to anoint someone champion, then maybe McIntyre doesn't go in as champion and he goes and gets his title back at WrestleMania. Fine. You can do that, Vince. But like, you've got to give McIntyre a title match at WrestleMania, whether it's as a champ or getting the title. And then you got Reigns and Bryan. I think the WrestleMania card could be really interesting. I think the talent level is outstanding right now, and fans are ready for it. Like, we're ready to start cheering and getting into some live wrestling again, and should be awesome. Should be really good. I'm excited for the show tonight. Folks, if you want to follow up on this and let me know how you feel, please make sure to leave a comment or come find me on Twitter at Bankster17, or just come to Bankster DFS and be a part of our WrestleMania Slack chat, or our wrestling Slack chat, along with all the other DFS stuff. BanksterDFS.com, $3.99 a week. Come check us out there. Thank you for joining us. Hope you enjoy the Rumble. Can't wait to see what happens. Again, hit me up, drop a comment, let us know. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, click the notification icon, BanksterDFS.com. We'll see you later.